First of all, your thoughts about both Chris Christie and Ann Romney last night.
Well, I thought they both played the role they were assigned. I think Ann Romney did an absolutely great job of describing the personal side of her husband, the parts that maybe Mitt Romney is more reluctant because he's a humble person, or because of his upbringing, he's more reluctant to brag about himself. Or I thought she accomplished that for him. She sort of we got to understand why Mitt Romney might be more reluctant to talk about the good things that he's done. It comes from his personal background, his religious background. And then I think Chris did a great job of laying out the philosophical distinction between the Obama people on the one hand and what Romney and Paul Ryan want to do. And I think talking about his achievements as governor was necessary to describe that it can be done. President Obama is whining all the time about things he can't do. I can't do it. He hasn't passed a budget in 4 years. I mean, it's crazy. So he said, it's because of the Republicans. Well, the president leaves out the fact that he had a Democratic Congress for 2 years and still couldn't pass a budget. He couldn't work with a Democratic Congress. He couldn't work with a Republican Congress. Chris Christie was able to accomplish this as a Republican in a Democratic state. So I think that was necessary to lay the groundwork to the fact that this can be done. If it can be done in New Jersey, we can do it in Washington.
You know, New York and New Jersey, especially Republicans, tend to be a little more moderate than they are around the rest of the country. What consolation, what can you say to moderates in the New York, New Jersey area who wonder if perhaps this candidate will be too conservative, severely conservative, as he said in the primary?
Well, I think you have to look at Mitt Romney and what he does when he has to accomplish things. Mitt Romney is a consummate pragmatist. There's no question about it. I watched him as governor of Massachusetts accomplish things in a Democratic state, even though he was a Republican. I look at his career at Bain. I mean, I keep thinking if he could have as much success as President of the United States as he had at Bain, we'd be in a lot better shape than we are in right now. We wouldn't have 8.3% unemployment. We wouldn't be seen as a country that people don't respect anymore. We wouldn't be a country in which the Secretary General of the UN, when asked not to go Iran, basically tells the president to go to hell. I mean, I think Mitt Romney will be a pragmatist, by and large, as president. He'll be guided by a basic conservative philosophy, but he won't be in a straitjacket based on his philosophy the way this president is.
We're going to hear a lot from Paul Ryan tonight about cuts and programs that need to be cut back, the social safety net that was instituted by FDR in some cases. How do you allay concerns about those cuts?
Well, I mean, this reminds me of Ronald Reagan's career. Ronald Reagan began his career as a Franklin Roosevelt Democrat, very convinced that we needed the social safety net during the Depression. I believe we did. But then Ronald Reagan left the Democratic Party because the social safety net began to lock people into poverty. It began to create enormous pockets of dependency. It began to take away incentive and the desire to work, and started to take away. And I saw that. I began welfare reform in New York City 2 years before Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton reformed welfare. I required people to work for their welfare check. It was very, very controversial. New York Times wrote really blistering editorials about why was I requiring people to work in order to get their welfare. And I said I was doing it because what I wanted to do was to reestablish them the work ethic. And I think that's part of what's at jeopardy right now. President Obama has in mind a highly dependent society. He wants to see the number of people that are dependent increase. Obamacare increases the number of people that are dependent on the government by 30 or 40 million. I know there's a lot of controversy about this, but his administration was looking for ways to find waivers for the work requirements that I happen to know in great intimate detail, having been part of welfare reform, and looking for much more euphemistic ways to describe work and kind of eviscerate the work requirements of welfare. If he wasn't caught at it, I think he would have done it. So there's a difference here between more dependency and giving people more responsibility. And I think that's what this campaign is about. And I think Paul Ryan is going to speak to that tonight very, very eloquently.